Have you ever found yourself in an argument, looking at the other person and just thinking, how on earth can you believe that? I mean, it's a feeling we've all had, right? Well, today we're going to get into it. We're diving deep into Jonathan Haidt's incredible book, The Righteous Mind, to figure out the psychology behind why we're all so divided. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? This is the big question. And it starts from a really important place. The assumption that the people we disagree with, they're not evil, they're not stupid. They're good people, just like us. So if that's true, if we're all trying to do the right thing, why does it feel like we're living on completely different planets? You see, Haidt's big idea is that this feeling of being right, that powerful, righteous feeling, it isn't some kind of mistake in our thinking. It's a fundamental feature of being human, and it's emotional. It's something we feel in our gut. The problem isn't that some people are righteous. The problem is that we all are. Now, we love to tell ourselves that we're logical creatures, that we look at the facts, we weigh the evidence, and then we come to a rational conclusion. But Haidt says, nope, that's not really how it works at all. If we really want to understand why we're so divided, we have to look past the arguments people are making on the surface and check out the hidden machinery that's actually running the show. So to explain this hidden machinery, Haidt gives us this absolutely brilliant metaphor. He says to picture our mind as being made of two parts, a giant elephant and a tiny rider sitting on top. And trust me, understanding how these two get along is the key to figuring out why facts and figures so rarely change anyone's mind. So, the elephant, that's our gut feeling, our intuition. It's that instant, automatic, emotional reaction we have to things. It's massive, it's powerful, and it moves without thinking. The rider, on the other hand, that's our conscious, rational mind. It's the little voice in our head that analyzes things. But here's the thing. It's perched on top of this enormous, powerful elephant. Now here's the twist. We think the rider is the one in charge, steering the elephant with logic. But what Haidt found is that most of the time, the elephant just goes wherever it wants to go based on its gut feelings. And the rider isn't a driver. It's more like a press secretary. Its job is to come up with plausible-sounding reasons to justify wherever the elephant already decided to go. So get this, reason doesn't lead us to our moral beliefs. It just defends the beliefs we already have. Okay, so if our intuitive elephant is running the show, the next question is, where do those intuitions even come from? Well, Haidt says they come from what he calls our moral foundations. And to make it easier to understand, he compares them to having 6 different taste buds on your tongue that help you sense the moral world. So these are the 6 big ones, and they're found in cultures all over the world. We've all got them. But, and this is so important, we don't all use them in the same way. It's like some of us have a moral palate that's super sensitive to just 1 or 2 of these, while other people have a much broader palate that registers all 6. And this is where our political divisions really start to make sense. Haidt's research found that, generally speaking, people who are politically liberal tend to build their moral world almost entirely on the foundations of care and fairness. But conservatives, they tend to use all 6 foundations much more equally. It means they're literally speaking different moral languages. One side is emphasizing compassion and equality above all else, while the other is trying to balance those with things like loyalty, respect for authority, and sanctity. It's not that one side is moral and the other isn't. It's that they're operating from completely different moral blueprints. So we've got our intuitive elephant, and we've got our different moral taste buds. But there's one last crucial piece to this whole puzzle, our deep, powerful, and sometimes kind of dangerous need to be part of a team. Haidt calls this our ability to flip the hive switch. You've definitely felt this. It's that feeling when you're at a concert or a protest or a huge sports game, and you feel like you're part of something way bigger than yourself. When that hive switch gets flipped, your sense of I starts to fade, and it gets replaced by a powerful sense of we. Now, this is the source of some of the best parts of being human. It lets us cooperate on a massive scale, build amazing things, and even sacrifice for people we don't know. It's one of the most meaningful experiences we can have. But, you probably know where this is going, it also has a pretty serious dark side. Because when that hive switch is on, our morality can get laser-focused on our own group. Our compassion is for us, and our outrage is reserved for them. And as the philosopher Hannah Arendt pointed out, this is how good, normal people can end up doing terrible things. Not because they're secretly monsters, but because their individual moral compass gets outsourced to the group. They stop thinking for themselves. Okay, so let's recap. We're driven by gut feelings, we speak different moral languages, and we're hardwired for tribalism. I know, it can sound pretty bleak, but understanding the diagnosis is always the first step toward finding a cure. And Haidt's work actually shows us a way forward, a way to handle our disagreements a little better. So, what can we actually do about all this? Well, here are 3 concrete steps. First, diversify your moral diet. If you know you lean heavily on care and fairness, try to genuinely understand a viewpoint that values loyalty or authority. Second, assume good intent. The person you're arguing with probably isn't evil. They're likely just protecting a different sacred value. And third, and maybe this is the most important, change the goal. Stop trying to win the argument and just try to understand where they're coming from.
Look, at the end of the day, understanding our righteous minds isn't about getting to a point where we all magically agree. That's a fantasy. It's never going to happen. The goal is way more realistic and, frankly, way more urgent. It's about building a world where our deep moral differences don't have to spiral into hatred and conflict. It's about learning how to live with and survive our differences. So the real question this work leaves us with is, where will you start?